Welcome to Ping 24 Updates. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates. The news broke like an iceberg calving into the frigid sea, sending ripples from Washington to Moscow. On a crisp morning in Nuuk, Premier Mute B. Egede stood before the world's press. Greenland is not for sale, he declared, but it is open for partnership. This was more than a rejection of another American offer, it was a declaration of independence in spirit. The announcement unveiled sweeping new agreements, not with the US but with Canada and the European Union. The world watched, stunned. Years of mounting pressure and quiet diplomacy had led to this moment. The US, under a re-elected Trump, had been relentless, seeing Greenland as a strategic asset. But Greenland saw itself as a nation with a future it intended to control. The Premier's announcement was a masterstroke, pivoting away from superpower advances and embracing partnerships built on respect. The message: Greenland would choose its own path. The agreements covered media, scientists in Arctic fieldwork, students in classroom with international flags, sustainable mineral exploration, joint climate research, educational exchanges, and infrastructure, each emphasizing Greenlandic leadership. This was not a sale, it was a collaboration. For Greenlanders long navigating a complex relationship with Denmark, this was a monumental step towards sovereignty. No longer a pawn, Greenland was now a player. Washington's reaction was disbelief, then anger. US officials had misread the situation, underestimating national pride and the desire for self-determination. While the US talked transactions, Canada and Europe built trust. They recognized Greenland's unique culture and aspirations. As the sun set over Nuuk, it cast a long shadow, a shadow of a changing world order. Respect, not might, was now redrawing the map of the Arctic. Greenland's move was a signal. The era of Arctic power plays was over. The world had to adapt to a new reality. Greenland had just changed the game. 4 key players stood at the heart of the Arctic drama, each with a different vision. Greenland, or Kalaallit Nunaat, was determined to shape its own destiny, proud of its Inuit heritage and language. The US, led by President Trump, saw Greenland as a prize, rich in resources and strategic value. Trump's approach was transactional: buy it, own it, control the Arctic. But he failed to see a people with their own dreams, a miscalculation that would cost him. Canada, sharing a border and history, approached Greenland as a neighbor, focusing on shared challenges and heritage. The EU saw Greenland as a vital partner, offering aid and collaboration. Canada and the EU built relationships, not deals. This set the stage for a contest of diplomatic philosophies: coercion versus partnership. Greenland stood at the crossroads, its choice shaping not just its own future, but the world's approach to Arctic relations. Would power or respect define the new Arctic order? The answer would echo far beyond the ice. Greenland's decision was about more than territory. It was about the future of international diplomacy. President Trump's renewed interest in Greenland was anything but subtle. After his 2025 inauguration, the idea was back on the table. Greenland's rare earth minerals and strategic location made it a tempting target. Trump saw it as a real estate deal to cement his legacy and secure American dominance in the Arctic. Thule Air Base was already there. Owning Greenland would give the US unparalleled control. But Trump's vision ignored the reality of Greenlandic society. He saw an asset, not a nation. His plan made Denmark an offer too big to refuse, assuming Copenhagen could simply hand over the island. This ignored Greenland's autonomy and the Home Rule Agreement. The American approach was transactional, putting a price tag on sovereignty, but Greenland's identity and right to self-determination were not for sale. This fundamental misunderstanding opened the door for other nations. The key to the Arctic wasn't a checkbook but a handshake. The US failed to grasp that some things can't be bought. Greenland's future would be decided by respect, not money. The American approach was a lesson in failed diplomacy: aggressive, impatient, and tone-deaf. US envoys acted like corporate negotiators, promising prosperity but veiling threats. Their high-pressure tactics put Greenland's leaders on the defensive. They ignored Greenland's deep desire for independence, treating the island as a commodity. Meetings were held in sterile boardrooms with little effort to understand local culture. President Trump's public comments reduced Greenland to a set of assets, horrifying its people. The disrespect galvanized opposition and united Greenlanders. The US saw an obstacle, not a partner. Meanwhile, Canada and the EU quietly listened and learned. They asked Greenland's leaders what they wanted for their future. The contrast was stark. America pushed, others partnered. The American tactics backfired, driving Greenland away. The diplomatic vacuum was quickly filled by those offering respect. Greenland turned to those who treated it as an equal. The US approach had the opposite effect, pushing Greenland into new alliances. Greenland's response to the American proposal was swift and unified. Namek, no. From Nuuk to remote villages, the idea of being bought struck at the heart of their identity. The American offer, meant to secure an asset, instead ignited national pride. Protests erupted with banners declaring, "Greenland is not for sale." People of all ages stood together, defending their land and culture. The uprising gave Premier Ejedi a powerful mandate to reject US pressure. Greenland's leaders emphasized self-determination and the right to choose their own partners. The focus shifted from resisting America to accelerating independence. The incident exposed the vulnerability of their semi-autonomous status. The dream of full sovereignty felt more urgent than ever. America's blunder didn't make Greenland a territory, it fueled nationalism. The nation moved closer to its goal of joining the free nations of the world. Greenland's unity became its greatest strength. The world saw a small nation standing tall. The path to independence was now clearer than ever. While the US made headlines with its aggressive bid, Canada quietly built trust. Canadian diplomats engaged in years of relationship building, visiting small communities and listening to local voices. They focused on shared interests, environmental protection, sustainable development, and Inuit culture. Canada's own Inuit population created a natural bridge of understanding. The result: joint ventures with strict environmental standards and local job guarantees. Sustainable fisheries and mineral exploration empowered Greenland, not exploited it. Goodwill grew. Canada was seen as a genuine partner, not a conqueror. The Canadian handshake felt real. The American offer felt like a takeover. Greenland chose partnership, aligning with its aspirations for sovereignty. In the Arctic, trust, not money, became the most valuable currency. Greenland's value lay beneath the ice, a treasure trove of rare earth minerals vital for modern technology. As global demand soared and China dominated the market, Western nations eyed Greenland's resources. Climate change made the island's strategic position even more critical, opening new shipping lanes. Control of these waters meant influence over global trade. Greenland's location was perfect for military bases and early warning systems. Russia and China ramped up their Arctic presence while the US scrambled to keep pace. Greenland's leaders understood their leverage and sought to use it wisely. They wanted partners, not overlords. Their goal: sustainable development and a path to independence. Greenland turned the global race for the Arctic to its own advantage. The Nuuk-Ottawa Accord was a landmark in Arctic history, built on years of respectful diplomacy. It was more than a trade deal. It was a framework for deep cooperation between Greenland and Canada. The signing ceremony symbolized a partnership of equals, a stark contrast to America's transactional approach. The EU endorsed the accord, calling it a model for modern Arctic diplomacy. Greenland was no longer isolated. It had powerful friends supporting its self-determination. The US was left looking isolated and clumsy. The world saw a victory for diplomacy over coercion. The accord included joint management of resources, renewable energy projects, and university exchanges. It balanced economic growth with environmental protection and social progress. Greenland's choice became a case study in smart foreign policy. Even superpowers couldn't impose their will when smaller nations had alternatives. The agreement set Greenland on a path to prosperity and independence. Partnership, not pressure, had won the day. Greenland's story is a lesson for the world. The old rules of power politics are fading. Respect, partnership, and cultural understanding now shape foreign policy. Greenland, with just 56,000 people, stood up to a superpower and won through diplomacy. The Nuuk-Ottawa Accord shifted Arctic geopolitics, creating a new bloc based on cooperation. The future of the Arctic will be shaped by those who call it home. The Canada-Greenland model is a blueprint for international relations. Smaller nations can secure their interests without sacrificing principles. Local jobs, environmental standards, and cultural respect are the new standards. Greenland's story offers hope, a path forward based on collaboration, not confrontation. The world must choose power plays or partnership. Greenland's example points the way.